Muldoon has really splashed out here. You know, Muldoon, I think he's a cash game player principally, hangs out in the big games in Dublin, but seems very cool tonight.
Well, he took a big risk there with the 2-8s, putting in that big re-raise before the flop.
Pass.
He was rewarded by it, however. You know, this game does have risk reward when the cards fall your way, and it certainly did in that hand for him.
Call.
Broadhurst opened up the betting with the call, and that has, like a rash, spread around the table. Muldoon, one of 3 aces out there, just checking for the big blind.
Wow. It looks like it's Muldoon's deck tonight as he flops 3 jacks.
It certainly does.
8,000.
And Norman Pace has fired out this. Is he going to get trapped?
Well, this is almost a pure bluff. He may think ace high is good here, but that will be answered very quickly by Muldoon.
Call.
Muldoon trying to let Pace catch up. Just called.
I think Pace should give this pot up now. He's made a bet. He's made a stab at the pot.
Jackson 5s with the ace for Pace. He's drawing dead right now.
Yeah, well, that gives Muldoon a full house. 3 jacks and 2 5s. That's a full house.
12,000.
And I guess Pace is hoping that Muldoon's on a flush draw.
Well, Pace is not letting up. Yeah, I think he's just, you know, falling prey to Muldoon's feigning weakness here.
Will Muldoon spring the trap? Now, he hasn't sprung the trap yet.
No, he's aptly playing this hand, letting his opponent, in this case Norman Pace, bluff off his chips. And he's going to try it one more time.
Yeah.
But Norman Pace is done with it.
Muldoon trying to let Pace do all the betting, but he's had all the cards and big chip leader right now.
Yep.
That was your change.
Well, Mark Muldoon, kind of an equal opportunity poker player. He's taking chips from everybody.
Well, he's the only one that's above the chip stack of 100,000. You're right, he's taken a little bit from everybody. He's held the cards so far, and he's played them very well. And it's really interesting about poker that this shuffle machine that we have, or the dealer, it's all random. But it does seem to that, you know, this game goes in cycles, and that when you're getting the cards, things go your way.
I mean, we've seen a couple of big hands out there. Eamon O'Neill, he's had some really big hands, ace, king twice, this sort of thing, but he just can't really get going.
Well, you know, Mark Muldoon has got the secret so far, and let's see if it holds up.
One of the things that's going on in poker right now is that there's some poker players, a lot of the great ones, who like to play only from the front.
Right. Well, it's certainly easier to play from in front.
Pass.
Remember, there is only one winner, and your objective is to get every chip at the table. He calls here now with pocket 3s. His objective to flop a set, which is 3 3s. So he's going to be looking for a 3 on the flop. Broadhurst with ace-6 of hearts, and Darren Bloom with the ace-7.
8,000 more.
Bloom raising from the big blind. I think he was expecting to take it right there, but Muldoon's already called.
Yeah, well, you know, it's hard to take it from the chip leader. He's going to defend, and that's going to draw everybody else probably into this pot. And we're going to have a big pot before the flop.
I mean, from this point, from Darren Bloom's point of view, Ken, wouldn't you say this is a complete disaster? Is it time to revert to Plan B for Darren Bloom?
It may be. You know, he's built a pot. He's tried. His objective was to eliminate opponents, but instead he's drawn them all in. So the opposite has happened. But let's see if the flop rescues him. Of king, 5, 8, all different suits. Nobody's flopped anything. I think if Darren Bloom leads out here, he might pick up this pot, but it's going to be tough because, you know, his opponent said, we're not going anywhere, we don't believe you. So it's very hard for him to bet.
Yeah, Bloom's backed off. I mean, he could have easily stuck that bet in if there was only one opponent or maybe 2, but with 3, he's...
Right. It's hard to continue the bluff. Now, this is the advantage of having the chip lead. Muldoon, he does have the best hand as we know it, but he has a lowly pair of 3s. Believe me, he thinks he's out there bluffing. But he has the chip lead, so you know, he has the comfort level of being able to make these
12,000
speculative
total.
bets.
Pass.
This is sort of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Muldoon bet 12,000. Broadhurst called him with a worse hand, but Muldoon must be petrified.
He is. And now Broadhurst's hand improves as he makes a pair of 6 on the turn. This should shut Muldoon down. I think he was taking a stab at the pot, trying to pick it up.
Check.
Yep,
Check.
it does. He checks.
Broadhurst doesn't have to bluff anymore. He's got a good enough hand.
Right, he made the pair on the turn. He has 6s and 8s, and unless Muldoon bets him out of the pot, he's going to turn
Check.
over his hand and win it.
Muldoon's going to be very shocked.
Three.
The 6 got there on the
Yes,
turn,
it's nice.
and Broadhurst will take it. That's a good little pot for Dave Broadhurst.
It's very interesting. You know, we saw Broadhurst fold second pair to a bet earlier. This time he has no pair, and he called the bet no problem.
I mean, I guess does the size of the pot sometimes influence you to take more chances?
Absolutely. You get dollar signs in your eyes, and that pot was a monster. And it shoots Dave Broadhurst into second place with 133,000, Jesse.
It's amazing how one pot can change things. Muldoon in danger of just skyrocketing away from everybody. He's still the chip leader, but a bit tight for second. And Neckelman, 68,000. Is he in trouble yet?
Not quite yet. The blinds are still low. You know, we're soon to go to the second level.
Here come the cards. Button on Mark Muldoon, the chip leader. Here's Darren Bloom.
This is my trap hand, 8-5 suited. I love that hand for some reason.
Oh, no.
It gets me in trouble, and it would have here too, as right behind him, Norman Pace has got the ace-10 of clubs.
I think it's a splash of red from
15,000
Norman.
Total.
Sure enough, 3 reds make 15.
Mm-hmm. And now this is going to be an interesting hand because Eamon O'Neill has the same hand, relatively, ace-10, not suited.
Well, it suits your gap theory, Kenna. It
Right.
should be much tougher for Eamon to call than it was for Norman to raise.
Absolutely.
Pass.
But he does, the one thing going for his advantage
Pass.
is that he has position on his opponent. And we know that Eamon likes to bet the flop. So if both players miss here,
Pass.
I expect O'Neill to win this pot. Although Pace has not been known to give up too easily, so
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm expecting them both to miss.
here it is, the flop. This time it'll be Pace to lead at the flop and put O'Neill at a decision.
14,000.
There's 36,000 in there, and Pace bet 14. Is that enough to ask a question?
Absolutely, but
Pass.
you know what? See how interesting this is? If Pace would have checked, O'Neill would have bet, and Pace would have had to fold. In this case, it was Pace who let out with the bet, and O'Neill had to fold. So he actually stole position from him. When you're first to act after the flop, you can steal position from your opponent by leading out with the bet.
So Norman Pace polishing off his trophy right now. Sandpapering his stacks, stacking up chips. And it's always fun to be still stacking your chips from the last hand when the cards are coming out and playing the next hand.
It sure is, Jesse.
I don't know if there's a word or a term for the pot you win while you're still stacking your chips for the last hand, but
It's called rush. Darren Bloom with the ace-3 of diamonds, praying for diamonds because that would put Pace in a very terrible spot here.
Darren Bloom has not really hit his side of the flops so far this evening.
Check.
Well, he's not hit
Check.
his stride yet, as we say. He may be waiting to come down the back stretch. And there it is, the back stretch. He turns aces.
I mean, this 10,000
Check.
in the pot means a lot more to Darren Bloom right now than it does to Norman Pace.
6,000.
I like the way he played this. He checked, let his opponent bluff at it, but he's also defensive in case he doesn't have the best hand, but I think he's going to test it and try and win it right here. Looks like he's getting